system.
Well. It seems like the road to WrestleMania has shifted gears. Don't know if it's in the best case scenario, but at the same time, we're here. The one constant that doesn't change on a perfect Saturday afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the phenomenon known to mankind as Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, if you do not know who I am, whether you are dumb, stupid, blind, or just plain irrelevant, I suggest you go back to school or go into your local library, get the biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the words phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not a phenomenal one, and of course, I'm not alone on this glorious Saturday afternoon because, of course, I have my co-host, the one and only limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. So, guys, without further ado, give me 2 claps and a peep snage.
Woo!
There we go.
Yes, we got another great show. We got a wrestling weekend on hand, and a lot of things have happened. Like I said last week, over this past couple of days, this week of wrestling has been really, really big. So if you stay tuned with us, we thank you for joining us from wherever you're watching us at. And we just ask you a favor, is that if you're going to be watching us during the show, we just want you to subscribe to the 3 tenets that make every Saturday great. And that is, of course, laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. And once you do that, you'll be in a better situation for the entirety of the weekend.
Indeed, I agree. Well, peeps, welcome. Great to have you, my friend. But of course, guys, we're not alone, because if you ever go ahead and you need humor on a great Saturday afternoon, you need to just go ahead and digress down into a chair and hear from the voice of reason when it comes down to Saturday afternoon's main event. I suggest you pick up your cellular device, go to the phone app, and type in the numbers 411. Guys, the host of Morton's Law, please welcome the one and only Mr. Christopher Morton, Mr. 411.
What's up, people? How's everything going on a Saturday here? By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show too, Nate. Not just your 3 minutes. Let's focus on the show, because the algorithm also is suggesting people comments. So please drop a comment below. Let us know what you think of the show. Feedback is always welcomed here on Saturday afternoon's main event. Now, before we begin today's show, I have something to read. I was sent something, courtesy, yes, very important. I had to put the glasses on for this. Courtesy, your uncle, Triple C.
Oh, boy.
Your uncle, Triple C. This needs to be handled right now, okay? This is the intellectual property of the Uncle Triple C, and this is a State of the Union address for Dominik Mysterio. Okay, Uncle Triple C says, I am still in mourning. Dom has represented North America in NXT. He has proven to carry 2 brands while holding 2 titles, unlike that deadbeat Rey Mysterio. He is still the greatest Mega Triple A heavyweight champion of all time. And more importantly than all of that, your uncle, Triple C, will return for the rest of the WrestleMania season next week.
Well, that's a perfect announcement. Screw the dumb stuff.
Because Saturday afternoon's main event is still and will always be under the umbrella of the Uncle Triple C era.
Wow. What an announcement here with the State of the Union of Uncle Triple C. As you have heard.
Wait. I'm sorry, Rich. I'm sorry. There's a PS. I'm sorry. There's a PS. Even though you are still my nephew, you are still hot garbage and a curtain jerker. And Nate, you are still king of all jabronis.
Did he really say that? Because it didn't seem like he ran off the phone for that one. Good grief.
Oh boy.
Jeez. But heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. The Uncle Triple C will be officially back for the rest of the WrestleMania season starting next week. But beyond all, I guess he's just currently taking the weekend sabbatical from what transpired this past week on Raw. But
Yes.
we will be covering that today alongside a lot of other things. So I think it's only fair that we get started with today's show, right, guys?
Yes, let's do it.
Look, all right, let's fire it up. Guys, you know, when you hear this sound echoing in the background, it's time for one thing and one thing only. It's time for 3 Rope Talk, all of the professional wrestling news you can possibly get here on Saturday afternoon's main event that consists within the confines of the squared circle. Look, first and foremost, we open up the show today with some real news. Cody Rhodes, or should I say Cody Hogan, has won the WWE title. And it seems like from the reaction getting from Mr. 411, we have a lot to talk about when it comes down to this. Because in all duality, this is the same Cody Rhodes that lost the Royal Rumble, lost last week's Elimination Chamber with the dual winner being Randy Orton. And after Elimination Chamber, Nick Aldis chooses to go ahead and issue out a match for Drew McIntyre since he costed Cody Rhodes the match with an interference at Elimination Chamber. He then scheduled Cody Rhodes to face Drew for the title at this week's SmackDown. What happened, you may ask? Well, after a little semi-interference from Jacob Fatu to take a chair away from Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes seemingly won clean. So now, the seeming main event for WrestleMania Night 1 is Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. We'll start with you, Chris. How do you feel about this? Because a lot of people might have the same reaction.
Homelander does it again. Homelander Hogan. So listen,
Perfect.
There's so much to unfold here because I mean, first of all, Drew, right? Let's go back to Drew for a second. I feel so bad for this guy. I mean, when you think about one of the true greatest remaining heels in this business, right? We talk about great heels. You talk about Drew. You talk about MJF. You talk about Dominik Mysterio, Logan Paul, guys that are always trying to be a heel without smirking at the camera, unlike what we get over at the other network and the other company. For him to lose this way, I mean, unless there's a bigger plan, look, if he's going one-on-one with Jacob, which was already discussed here on the show for the last several weeks here, fine. But I still feel like he deserves more than that. And I know people will say, oh, well, you guys hate the 3-way and the 4-way. It's so diluted, and it is. No question about that. But again, if you just started watching, we'll talk about that in terms of the history of the 3 and 4-way when it makes sense and all 4 guys have heat, not just in some stupid tournament match. Then we want to see that. Now, I don't know what road they're going down. No pun intended, road. But I think a lot of people and the internet spoke out last night, YouTube specifically, 100,000 dislikes of Cody Rhodes winning this match last night. Now, granted, that's a small microcosm of the big audience that still cheered for him when he won last night, right? Sure, people at home still cheered for him. And they could all, that's why 100,000 likes could be all AEW.
Oh, good grief.
I mean, who knows? But no, listen, there's a lot of the WWE fan base that is also sick of him. They're sick of the Homelander act. He, at some point now, when we talk about Randy Orton in this main event at WrestleMania, if it is just the two of them, I think to build something bigger going into WrestleMania, the way we got Cena to turn, somebody has to turn, and I think the surprise would be Cody. But I don't know. Nate, what do you think about all this?
I'm in the same mindset as where you're coming from as far as that match goes. If indeed all we're getting are these two participants in the match. First and foremost, as you're going to hear a lot of, as you probably heard a lot of from other people on different sites, etc. Drew has, let's really be honest, as a heel, has carried WWE for the better part of the last 8 to 10 months, maybe even a little bit longer. If you're taking away the aspect of when Roman Reigns lost the championship to Cody, and they needed to have that one bona fide, dependable heel that you can build around or build a show on. And that is basically what Drew McIntyre has been. The importance that he has been through the roof with his feud from CM Punk and then bleeding it over on SmackDown and then turning it into this feud that he's had with Cody. And then the other ancillary parts with Sami Zayn and the ancillary parts with the Usos and all of the other people that have been involved within that sphere. He's basically been a son, and all of the other wrestlers and all of the other proponents have been revolving around him. So right now, to see that Drew has not given that opportunity to go into WrestleMania as the champ, I think is criminal. Now, on the other side, like you just stated, there may be something bigger along the lines here. But one of the reasons why this isn't the case, and we'll make a couple of questions about this. One, why is this being the case? Well, one of the things that we did find out, at least over the last couple of days, is that Drew was going to be taking time off shortly after WrestleMania. As a matter of fact, almost immediately after WrestleMania, he's going to be filming a Highlander movie. So he's going to be taking time off to do that. And you know, the WWE usually does not want to have somebody that has a championship that's going to be off doing something for an extended period of time off television. Okay, fine. Then the argument is, why don't they do that and use that as an angle going into WrestleMania so that if he loses at WrestleMania, he actually has that built in out. So you have that going. I think the mindset with Cody, as a lot of people have always stated, and I've stated this as well, Cody is marketed better as the chaser than as the actual champion. And I think that's where a lot of his build and his popularity came from. The against all odds, the chasing the championship. And even more so, was the original plan supposed to be Cody losing the championship to win it back? I think this was some sort of course correction, because I'm sure the WWE, TKO, Triple H, and others, whether they tell you or not, they listen to social media. They listen to the internet. And I think that the thought process was, this is getting a little bit monotonous. This is getting a little bit predictable. So let's go ahead and throw him a curveball and change things up. Similar to what happened with the Sami Zayn storyline that they added to the previous year's WrestleMania with Cody winning the belt. It's something of a side quest, but at the same time, it's a course correction, because this is what happened. I don't think there was any chance that Cody was supposed to lose the belt after he won it at SummerSlam and lose it between then and WrestleMania until they came up with this. So there you go on that aspect of it. So where do you guys think this goes from here, given what we do know now and some of the options that could happen going forward?
Well, there's so much that I can go ahead and break down when it comes down to this, but the reality is that, look, we're going to get Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. I feel like this is already set in stone. Immediately after SmackDown last night, they went ahead and also posted the poster for night one of WrestleMania, being Rhodes versus Orton. If that is the direction, like Chris said, I do feel that to amplify the magnitude of this match, Cody Rhodes should turn heel. But are they going to do it? I think the answer is no. What I'm more focused on beyond anything else, aside from Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, is Drew McIntyre. The question that I have to ask you, gentlemen, is after this 56-day reign, and since it has finally concluded, does this hurt Drew's character more than it does good for him?
Well, I mean, the fact that he lost the way he did with minimal interference whatsoever, I mean, that's not even like Jacob took the chair away from him. What does that mean? There was a ref bump. They could have been a little bit more creative on the finish to screw Drew even more, to give him more of a gripe as he's had with all this every week. Yes. I don't think, what kind of a gripe does he have now? Jacob showed up and took my chair. What is that?
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know if it hurts or helps. ultimately, though, it's just the fans, as we've already said, feeling how unjustified last night was.
Yes. And if you were looking for something that they could have done in the long run to keep Drew with the belt, if the intention was for him to lose the belt at WrestleMania, they could have done a couple of things. Whoever comes out of it, let's say what we had fantasy booked last week of maybe having a 4-way or a 6-pack or whatever would be the case, where all of these different players involved are tired of the Drew character, trying to screw him out of losing the championship at WrestleMania. You could always have that explained with Drew being off of television by one way. And this is, let's say he loses the match, whoever interferes or whoever costs him the chance to win. You do the WrestleMania post show. You give him the opportunity to see, let's say Nick Aldis is doing an interview with whoever at the post show. And then you end up having Drew Claymore kick Nick Aldis on the way out the door. You tell him, I'm sick of you screwing me. I'm sick and tired of all of these things going on. You know, you deserve this. You Claymore kick him on TV. He gets banned from television or whatever for however long that is. That writes him off. That keeps his heat high, keeps the energy there, and keeps the interest in Drew really feeling like he was screwed. And then you feel the justification of what he did afterwards. So if that was the case and the idea was to make sure that Drew was still hot going into WrestleMania, you just yanked him away from the main event picture, which didn't make any sense at all. Indeed. Cody and Orton in the main event, something has to happen. I'm more of the mindset that it may be Orton that does the turn, because I don't know if they're ready yet for Cody to change. If they do, they can do that. It's set up perfectly. And I think in this match also, Sami Zayn, who I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, I think is going to factor more into this main event than most people are actually thinking. Because I have a feeling Sami at some point is going to turn heel, and he's going to cost Cody at some point a title match, maybe at WrestleMania.
But somebody's going to turn at some point, and ultimately, I feel like going in with face versus face, I'm going to care a lot less, and I think most people may as well if it's just face versus face.
I agree. But
there has to be some kind of intrigue between the two, and I think that they can build out what they've had with their friendship, but then play off of the fact that, you know, Cody, you've had this championship, you've been in this run for long enough, and I think the more important thing that they did on SmackDown was actually have Randy Orton talk about, I've been in WWE well over 20 years. I've only main evented 2 WrestleManias. That can be played into this entire background between the two and be played up as a story beat going into WrestleMania going forward.
Overrated.
And I think a lot of fans feel the same way, Chris, because from what I'm seeing on social media and on YouTube, the video of Cody Rhodes winning the WWE title has already reached 100,000 dislikes.
Right.
In the span of 15 hours since Cody won the title. So
this is as bad as that Charlotte video from a couple of WrestleManias ago. You remember her going into WrestleMania? She had the most downvoted video on YouTube in the WWE's channel.
Yup. So look, time will only tell what happens with these 6 weeks left from WrestleMania. But from there, we will go ahead and move to our Raw review here on 3 Rope Talk on Same. Guys, 2 things to unpack here genuinely coming from Raw. Number 1, of course, Dominik Mysterio losing the Intercontinental title. That's a win-win for us here on Saturday afternoon's main event, aside from Uncle Triple C. I know he'll probably have a lot to say next week.
Oh, he's coming for you now. He's coming.
It's okay. But let's talk about Danhausen here, cursing Dominik for going ahead and losing the title. But then again, Finn stopping JD from helping Dom. The storyline there, I think all signs point to those 2 men having a match against each other at WrestleMania. But I want to ask you guys first, do you guys feel that would probably mark the end for the Judgment Day if that happens? Peach?
I don't know if it'll be the end of the Judgment Day. I think it'll be the end of the Judgment Day as we know it. But I think the Judgment Day can still go along and continue on. I just think that Finn will be gone. Finn doesn't necessarily need the Judgment Day anymore. I think Dominik and Liv have picked up in the sense of being in the leadership role of that group right now. They've had Rhea gone. They've had Priest gone. They're going to weather this storm with a potential removal of Finn in some way, shape, or form. And that's going to lead to a match for those two at WrestleMania. I also think that Raquel Rodriguez has shown that she is a primetime player in that group. And it's only a matter of time before she starts headlining pay-per-views and WrestleManias at some point. She's showing a lot from what I see.
Yeah, so on Elimination Chamber, there were 2 wardrobe malfunctions.
Yes.
One, Kiana James, which everyone wants to see, and then Raquel Rodriguez, in which somebody, the internet always wins. Somebody had the greatest line of all time. Nothing to see here.
Wow. I'm glad I put the water away when I did. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
The IWC. Only the IWC.
Yes.
So here's the caveat in this whole Judgment Day mix. JD.
Yes.
He's loyal to Finn. How does he really side with Dom here? What happens?
Yes.
I would love to see what happens with that.
And I would also love to see JD return to that cold, calculating, sinister character he was in NXT. Because I think that with him moving to the main roster, they've kind of removed a lot of his killer instinct, and he's become more of a team player. But if they're looking to keep him and keep Judgment Day together, he kind of has to be that guy in the faction that is the one you don't mess with. And I think that's kind of where that goes as far as what they can do with JD.
But
I agree.
At the end of the day, you can't overcome Kurshausen.
You've been cashed. Yeah.
But talk about Danhausen. It seems like the people are actually taking to him now. Well,
yes.
Aside from
not everybody, that's for sure.
Not everybody,
yeah.
But it seems like he's doing his thing. So I really have to respect that. He's genuinely doing great so far. The list of demands do suck indeed, but hey, I don't go ahead and say too much because I don't want to get cursed in the end as well. But then again, we still have yet to see what can happen with the Judgment Day, Finn, and Dominik Mysterio all together. But the real thing to talk about when it comes down to this Raw review, the war of words between CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
Yes.
Part 2 took a drastic turn with Roman out here telling Punk that he will go ahead and take the title from him, send him into retirement, have him go straight down to NXT just to work with developmental, send him up to him just to go ahead and bring him back down to size. And what was Punk's response? Telling Roman that at WrestleMania he's not only going to beat him, but bury him. And not just bury him, and not just leave him alone. Because he won't be alone anymore due to the fact that he'll be buried next to Sika Anuai. CM Punk strikes again. What did you feel when that promo hit and those words were said, Chris?
I agree with Bully Ray on Busted Open, who said it came out of nowhere and was a little uncharacteristic of where the promo was going. Not saying that's a bad thing, but it kind of took everyone by surprise, especially if Punk is in fact the babyface here.
Yes.
So it took a turn for the what? And I think even the fans went, huh? So it was just
got dark real quick.
Right. And then, I mean, I don't know. I mean, even now, I don't know. Here's the greatest question. Did Roman know that line was coming?
I'm pretty sure he had to know that was coming at some point. I would expect the next time that they get in there, there's going to be Larry references. There's going to be a Larry T-shirt with a grave site. There's going to be something along those lines, because you can't drop a burial line like that and make it personal and not have a comeback line equally as painful and personal. And I think that's where they're going to go with that also. So, yeah, I can see that the next time that they get to
the issue I had was not even the line itself or what people thought of the line, but what the family thought of the line. Two people specifically. One, if you could read, Rich, what he said, or I don't know if it was more than just one line, simple line. What did Zilla Fatu say?
Oh, well, Zilla was actually watching it via live stream alongside a couple of family members. And immediately, once the line that CM Punk said that he would bury Roman next to his father hit, it seemed as if all of Zilla's family was astonished. One of Zilla's family members said, "What? Wait, where did this come from?" And Zilla said verbatim, "You know what? It's okay. The next time I see CM Punk, I'm going to slap the hell out of him." Well, that's exciting to hear from Zilla. I mean, you know, but then again, we also heard from one Nia Jax, who said that all in all, pretty much just to tone it down a bit, she says that in the end, the Tribal Chief and the OTC will reign tall at WrestleMania.
Wait, you missed the quote. She said, "Small men talk big." And the last time I checked, CM Punk is 6'1", 230. He's not a small man. I don't know where she's coming up with that.
Maybe small men compared to her is maybe where she's coming from. That's the only thing I can think of. Unless she really thinks of him being a small person figuratively.
Right. Listen, you're right. That's a good thought. I didn't think it from that aspect, not just stature. She should never say a word about anything in the wrestling business. She should like get on her hands and knees and be grateful she's even in it. She's an embarrassment to the business. For all the people talk about Jade Cargill, and rightfully so, about her, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. Nia Jax has nothing. Listen, they asked her to lose weight so she stops killing everybody.
You got a point on that, Chris. But still, when it comes down to all of this, and when it comes down to what this all means, and stature to the main event of night 2, I think we all kind of get carried away within the war of words and what exactly Punk said, when genuinely the reality is this is a feud built off of hate. I feel like the title is just secondary. Roman literally said it verbatim the first time they've crossed paths. I'm not picking you for the title. I could pick you because you're on Netflix and this is the bigger show. But I'm picking you because I hate you and I've always hated you. And at WrestleMania, you're going to acknowledge me. The reality is Roman hates Punk. Punk hates Roman. They don't like each other. But with Punk, it seems like he's playing a game of cat and mouse. Punk wants Roman to chase him. It seems like it's feeding more into Punk's ego. And for Roman is going to go ahead and just tick at some point. And I think Roman wanted it to happen the way that it needed to happen by letting Punk talk about his dad. So by saying that, Roman's going to say something back to Punk. Hopefully, maybe it's going to be about Larry. And if it is, there goes your WrestleMania main event for night 2. And it's going to go up in smoke by the time they see each other, in 2 weeks?
Yes, and it's funny the fact that they're both booked as faces going in. So there's that kind of trepidation between, okay, who do we follow? Even though we both have fans, who do we follow? Who do we agree with? And as we've seen with Chris Jericho when he was doing his Best in the World back in 2008, 2009, you can actually be a heel and say things that are believable, but that the fans will actually agree with. And they will hate you for it. And that's where it seems like both of them are right now. I think just because of that line, Punk comes across as a little more heelish just because of how sudden and personal that quote was. But I think most people go in looking at the OTC, and he's basically been for the last 5 or 6 years the heel of the company. So where do we go from here?
But again, we're going to have both main events face versus face unless something changes.
Oh, that's definitely within the next couple of weeks. I think they will sort that out. Yes.
Wrestling today is there's too many of these matches. We need the heel.
Yes,
exactly.
You need a definite antagonist and a definite protagonist, and I think that's one of the things that builds a card for people to get their interest up.
And by the way, if Zilla is serious and shooting, please, I would like to put both of them in an octagon and see how Zilla comes out of that.
Indeed, indeed. But from there, we move away from the Raw review. We are now going to go ahead and cover some news that took place literally in the middle of the week. Road Dogg has quit WWE.
Oh, you didn't know?
Your ass better call somebody. Or you know what? He has to go ahead and revise that. Your ass gonna call the unemployment line.
Oh,
But,
man.
And he got exposed. Unreal
Yes.
ruined him for sure.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed. And of course, I want to ask you, peeps, when it comes down, of course, to Road Dogg quitting WWE Creative, we know that we have seen some things off of Unreal. We heard that he walked into WWE headquarters, told Triple H that he was done. Like, pretty much he says that he was just tired of the direction that, his creative decisions were going and whatnot. But I also have to ask, do you feel that he also took a sabbatical and probably heard from people in the company that told him that it was the right decision to leave?
I think that he probably was at his wit's end on some level, that some of the things that he was doing weren't connecting. I think that his interactions with Michael Hayes and some of the other people that are within creative kind of might have rubbed his own creative direction a certain way that he didn't think was getting accomplished. But also, let's really be honest. I think he was much more so embarrassed by what happened on Unreal. And I think that kind of belies his tenure in the company as head of creative for SmackDown. I think a lot of people looked at some of the decisions that he made. Some of the decisions were okay. Others, not so much. A lot of hit and miss. And I think that when you're looking at what the Road Dogg was going through, just from the lens of what we saw on Unreal, because we all know Unreal as a show we don't know how much is legitimate and how much is drummed up for the show, but that looked legit, especially the whole comment of what are we going to do with Chelsea Green? Well, that I think more than anything else made him look like a fool, because it's like, okay, let's do something with Chelsea Green. What do we do afterward? I don't know. You can't be a booker and not know. I understand we've been wrestling fans for quite some time, and we know bookers have to think 12 months, 18 months in the future in some instances for bigger storylines, but they also have to micromanage the minutia in between. So if you're going to give somebody a book for a particular wrestler and you know they're going to have to interact with other characters, you have to have a plan as to how that helps, one, the person you're pushing, but also the other ancillary characters that are interacting. And that's probably the toughest part as a booker especially in WWE. And I don't think that was something that Road Dogg seemingly had a grasp on fully from what we've seen.
Got it. Okay.
I never knew why he was in that position in the first place. I never got it. I never just because.
Do you believe it had a lot of nepotism involved, as far as not per se related, but being the friend of Triple H and Shawn Michaels? You think that might have had something to do with it a little bit?
I'm sure it goes back to the days of, because he's an Armstrong and people are like, well, he knows what the wrestling business. Not always the case. Not always the case. Ain't
true. But from there, we move away from Road Dogg and we wish him the best in his future endeavors. But like that, we go ahead and move to Conan, who has been hospitalized.
Conan.
Yeah. Leg
not
amputated.
Not to be confused with Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. It's a crazy story. It's definitely a crazy story.
Yeah.
That's how you mess with the cartel, man. Don't mess with the cartel.
Oh Lord.
You get your leg amputated, man.
Holy Chris.
Yeah.
Holy Chris. You notice he's the only one drinking as well.
Yeah.
But peeps, when it comes down to this, what is the take on this story? What do you know so far?
So from everything that I've read over the last, say, 12 hours, it hasn't been good. Conan, who we know has had health issues over the last 15, 20 years, since his WCW days ended. We know he's had kidney transplants because he has had bad kidneys, bad health. We know he went through heart failure due to COVID. So we know he went through a lot of health issues from that sense. But also now that we're finding out that he was in the San Diego hospital over the last few days, his health has deteriorated and had one of his legs amputated. And from the last thing that I read, there is a possibility he may actually lose the other leg too.
Is it diabetes? I mean,
we're not sure if it probably has a lot to do with the kidneys failure that he went through.
Oh, damn.
And the issue being that with all of the health issues that he's had, and like I said before, with those underlying conditions, and he had COVID, so a lot of that happened. A lot of his health issues stemmed from a lot of the other illnesses that he's had, and probably things that have happened in his lifetime. It's just sad to see how quickly his health has degenerated over the last few weeks. And it's sad now that we've had within the last year, 2 prominent wrestlers have had leg amputations. We know Buff Bagwell had his leg amputated, but that was a lot from a car accident where the leg never really fully healed and it had to happen. It's just as sad where we're learning more and more about it, and hopefully he pulls through and he can recover. But this is kind of a touch and go situation with Conan, so we're thinking of him as he goes through this health ordeal for himself and his family.
He's a tough dude, so he's gonna pull
Yes.
through fine. But the thing is, I remember hearing that first AAA WWE show with Corey on the play-by-play and him doing color.
Yes,
He was so happy being there. Yo, you could hear it in his voice how happy he was putting over his people and just doing it. And I mean, we even talk about the induction of Rey Mysterio into the Hall of Fame, how eloquent he was. And everyone's like, wow, he should be cutting promos in the company with that kind of mic work.
Yes.
Being there live for that one, yes, it was certainly a doozy. I have to say, and certainly it's sad when he goes ahead. It comes down to hearing wrestlers being hospitalized, but on top of that, having a leg amputated, which can be a life-changing, situation. Of course, we just wish the best for Conan.
Yes.
So prayers to him. But from there, we move to the world of All Elite Wrestling. This will be our last piece for 3 Rope Talk today. Dave Finlay has now been All Elite.
The son of Fit Finlay.
Yes.
I guess he's the next guy to change the needle, as Nate will talk about in a few minutes here with the ratings, which did get a boost, although I'm sure the credit doesn't go to Dave Finlay for it. But, again, let's be honest, with Tony Khan's booking, he'll be just another guy in a week or so.
Well, delegated to Ring of Honor.
The crazy part about this whole thing is that for the last, I'd say, month, most people had Dave Finlay on their radar going to WWE. And more directly going to NXT, because NXT was actually starting to build a faction that has the name of Birthright. And this is going to consist of Charlie Dempsey, Uriah Connors, who's actually the younger brother of Dave Finlay, as well as Lexus King as the leader of the group. And they would slot Finlay in with the rest of that group and see where that would go from there. And then they would try and probably have kind of like an Undisputed Era style of faction there. But apparently from what Finlay and his people talked about was that he got a lowball offer from WWE, which then had him change his mind and then negotiate with AEW. And lo and behold, he showed up on Dynamite. Ironically, you debut him after the team that he was associated with lost. They lost a tag team match. It was, I believe it was Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin went up against what was left of the dog, so to speak, of Connors and of Gabe Kidd. And they lost the match, and then you debut Dave Finlay in there to reform the War Dogs there. So that's kind of where they went with that.
But time will only tell what more they do with Dave Finlay, though.
Yes.
Which will be nothing. Let's at least give Dynamite some kind of shout out here, because a couple things happened during the show. I thought the first match, the opening, albeit a little long, as they're always guilty of, right? I thought MJF versus Kevin Knight was solid. It was nice to see Kevin Knight in there with actual wrestler versus a circus freak. And MJF led him to a really good match. Knight still, listen, I love his work. Does he do a little bit of too much of the high flying at times as a crutch? Yes. I don't think he's quite yet on that level of Javon Evans that we talk about, because I know a lot of people reference Javon's ability to sell really well and the facial expressions and all the timing that he has. Knight is close, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the matches he's going to have are going to look more like the circus show matches versus the one he had, which was really good. Nate, what did you think of the match with MJF?
I thought the match was really good. I think if we're going to give it a star rating, I can't believe I'm going to go there. I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5. I'm not going any higher than 18 stars or any other nonsense, but it was a solid match. It had really good pacing. It was very well done. You guys, you've seen the show. We've been doing this show almost 5 years. People that already know me know what my pet peeve is. Why your world heavyweight champion is defending the title in the first match of the show makes no sense to me. But that's the Tony Khan booking style of giving you, in his mind, that match as an opener to get eyeballs to the product. So,
well, right, it's all about the ratings. There's no doubt.
Yes,
you can put it on at 9 o'clock, but I think, again, we don't have the quarter hours anymore. Although they may resurface, considering the ratings have changed back to what they used to be.
Yes.
And we should get those again. But ultimately, we've always known as AEW show goes on, the numbers dwindle.
Yeah, especially right after the first, usually 45 minutes to 50 minutes in. And then afterwards, we get to the beginning of the second hour, and that's when the ratings usually start to dip. So whatever big number they get in the show, it has to be buffered by the loss of viewers as the show goes on.
Not to be, but I guess Michael or Bruce, by the way, buffer just to.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. This blew my mind because his obsession with Moxley being out there every week doing these same matches that he does all the time. What was it, Hechichero he was out there with this time?
Yes.
Right. By the way, I love the fact that the crowd was more split than ever before, ever since Moxley turned face. So they either like this guy really much or people are just sick of seeing Moxley, which I would hope the latter being the case.
Well, the crazy part is the last 3 weeks, Moxley's matches have opened up the show.
Thankfully,
so I guess it was a break from the everyday norm of what the every week norm that they had been doing. And I think maybe that might help it out to some degree.
Well, we can.
Are we leading into the ratings here? Nate, you can jump into that.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sure. I could do that for you. First off, as you did talk about, the ratings improved. And for the third time in 5 weeks, AEW beat NXT. AEW went 650,000 viewers with a 0.12 in the demo, where NXT did 604,000 with a 0.09 in the demo. Now, we don't have the TNA ratings for this week, but last week's TNA ratings, which we were able to get, they did 233,000 with a 0.03 in the demo. So, yes, they're steadily staying within that 233, 254, 240. So they're staying, and over the last few weeks, we know what TNA's ratings are going forward. As far as Collision did 365,000 with their last show, as opposed to what they did the week before, which was 471. Because remember, the last 2 or 3 weeks, Collision's ratings have been really, really high. This one, they did 365,000 with a 0.06 in the demo for them as well. And
how funny was it? How funny was it with Swerve on the mic and someone yells, "You piece of shit!"
It goes to show you the fans are really taking the Swerve as a heel, a bona fide heel, not a tweener.
But I mean, the response back, your mama.
Yes. And
geez,
the last rating I'll give you is what SmackDown did, which was a 1.37 million viewers that they did, or they 0.34 in the demo. So their ratings are going back up now that the Olympics are over and they're back on their regular network. They're starting to get regular viewership back now going into the road to WrestleMania.
But I have to ask though, do you think that will change now that Drew McIntyre is no longer champion?
I think the ratings will still be high. I think the attention is going to still be there. It's just a matter of what they plan on doing with the product, especially now that they've announced that there's going to be some kind of a contract signing on the show. What are they going to do with the rest of the stuff there?
I don't see the numbers dropping as we lead into WrestleMania I think it's
Yes.
going to be only more intrigue, especially not up against any legit competition going forward.
Yes.
So I don't see the number dropping, it only enhancing. But yo, how funny was what was it with Swerve and then I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Hangman, are you guys aware of this? The Wrestling Observer Awards and all these marks they vote and whatnot. Think about all the great promos in this business. Hangman, Adam Page, of all people, was voted the best promo in the business, which is an embarrassment. What are you watching? His promos are worse than Cody could ever be in terms of workshops. He is not believable. His emotion is so fake. Everyone can see through him. And I don't get the love for this guy. He's not a draw. Who cares?
Well, he's got a connection with the fans on some level for them to actually look at it in that sense.
And it would be a joke if they ever put the title back on him. I don't want to see another reign of Hangman. No way.
I can agree. I can attest. I can agree and attest that Hangman's promos, I feel seemingly from anything 2019 into 2021 was probably the best work Hangman did.
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah. Yes.
But now it seems as if it's much more watered down and complex due to the fact of him being a face for the people. I feel all of that for the people stuff is just out the window, especially since after the Texas Death Match that he had with Moxley at All In last year. It's something about Hangman shifted, and I feel like, especially now when it comes down to the promo work, certain things can be said in the promo that I can feel as if it feels just right, and then other things just feel downright out of the window. Like why? Like what was the need for saying it? And
one could argue. I think one could argue that the best promos that Page has done within the last couple of years was his feud with Swerve, because those had passion and anger, and it had a level of some kind of believability to them. But it hasn't really been the same since, like you said, with the All In championship run with Mox, etc. So yeah, it best promo in the business.
That's nuts.
I don't see that. Not by a long shot.
Never that. But look, that marks the end to the rating. So peeps, thank you for that. And that marks the end to 3 Rope Talk. If you want to continue to keep up with our latest social media news and updates on the world of professional wrestling, guys, you can follow us on our social media platforms. Our Instagram being at Saturday Afternoons_main event, our Twitter being Saturday Main, and our TikTok, where we also post memes for your enjoyment and entertainment, being Saturday Afternoons ME. With that being said, we have finally gotten to that part of our show where we answer our question of the week. This one, of course, we love to go ahead and answer these questions. So look, guys, if you ever want to feel like sending in a question, if you feel like it is that damn good, in the words of Triple H, then send it into our Instagram, in our DMs at Saturday Afternoons_main event. If you send it in, then I guarantee it'll be on the next episode of the show. With that being said, Long Island Isaiah gets the spotlight this week, and he says, do you believe that Jade and Rhea's feud was a shoot turned by the WWE into a work, or was that interaction on social media a worked shoot overall? I feel that it was a shoot. I feel that it was predominantly a shoot to begin with. I feel that, of course, with the stories that we've been hearing in the last couple of years with Jade, there were talks that she was rubbing people in the back, in the locker room the wrong way. Seemingly Shayna Baszler to be one to go ahead and talk about to begin with. Then now having to go ahead and sit there and feud with Rhea, it seemed as if it was supposed to be back and forth to begin with. It was supposed to be friendly fire. And it seemed as if that Jade went ahead and said something to Rhea that kind of just caught Rhea off guard, which was, of course, the talk about her talking too creative and always getting her way. That was blurring the lines. Of course, Rhea then took to Instagram saying that she's no longer having fun. Nice try of trying to blur the fourth wall. You definitely did that, but she genuinely was pissed off from that. WWE, of course, they always try to go ahead and focus on the business aspect of it. So by having these ladies go ahead and sit there and show up on SmackDown last night and have their war of words, it seemingly just now is a work, for those people. But still, for me, I feel that it was a shoot. Peeps, do you feel the same way?
I think on some level there might be a little bit of animosity with a lot of the wrestlers that they encounter Jade also bringing that up. I think that one of the things that we've seen is that in the wrestling business, especially what seems like with the women's division, there's a lot of jealousy and animosity that go along with the spot. Jade has only been in the wrestling business about 3 or 4 years. So it's not like she's had a long career where she has, quote unquote, paid her dues, et cetera, et cetera. So she's still learning certain things. That being said, I think that maybe her natural exuberance, maybe her natural confidence rubs people the wrong way. Maybe the fact that she's already talked about, she knows that she's not going to be in the wrestling business for years and years and years. She knows she has a certain amount of time in the business, so she wants to maximize that. Maybe that rubs other people the wrong way. But also, we also can see that the WWE, when it comes to storylines like this, they usually frown upon storylines being created on social media. We've seen this before in the past, where wrestlers will go onto social media to, say, book a match or to have a complaint with somebody. And then we've also seen storylines created on social media, which then end up becoming something on camera. We've heard Chelsea Green chime in with this particular deal, and Piper Niven chiming in with this. So we know that there is some interaction with other people around, but we also know that going forward, this can just also be added as subterfuge to further along this particular storyline as we head towards WrestleMania, as just another way to highlight a match and give it the attention, both in ring, on TV, and also social media wise, to build up the notoriety and the attention toward that match.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I do think Jade needs to be careful here because she doesn't have a cousin named The Rock like Nia does. So, Jade could find her way out of here pretty quickly. And
yes.
I'm inclined to believe Rhea's winning this title back anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I think the company has been behind Jade for the longest and have built her up a certain way and have protected her by evidence of the fact that she's only had one title match since she won the women's championship back in November, and that was with Jordan Grace. Who, by the way, Jordan got hurt not that long ago. I think it was on a taping of Main Event where she sprained her ankle. Yep. So she had a problem getting off. They threw up the X sign. She couldn't really walk on the ankle. So we hope that this is not a long-term injury, but let's see what happens from there. But going forward, as Chris just stated, she has to be careful to protect herself and her brand. The company has put a lot of money behind Jade in their marketing of her and how they protected her and have hid her deficiencies. Let's see where they go from here and how they build that up towards WrestleMania, because I think that based on what we saw, a lot of things pointed to Rhea and Jade potentially main eventing night one of WrestleMania until we saw Cody win the belt yesterday. And it changed a lot of things.
Indeed. Well, we just have to wait and see on that one. But Long Island Isaiah, thank you for that question again. If you want to be able to send in your question, if you think it's that damn good, and you trying to get the spotlight for next week and every other week leading forward, guys, send it in to Saturday afternoons _main event on Instagram. But with that being said, we are going to go ahead and end the show today here with one more thing, and that is our NXT Vengeance Day predictions. In all seriousness, I know that Chris said that he had certain things to go ahead and attend to, being Mr. 411. Yes. He also has a lot more things. So look, Chris, if you feel the need to have to dim the lights or leave for today, it's okay.
No, I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna part ways with this. So the latest on Royce Keys is they have nothing for him, so he's just gonna be
it's ridiculous
working these dark matches, and so they can find something for him, which is
so he left AEW to get the attention of WWE, and he's in catering, waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about how long. Well, they actually put him in TNA for a little bit, but Mr. Lemon Pepper Steppers had to wait before he got to the main roster.
That's
And
true.
now, that when he came out last night and went face to face with Randy Orton and did his little thing, he's a superstar, man.
Yes.
You should not deny how over Trick Williams is as a star. I love
what they added to his presentation is when he comes out, they put him on the rotating stage so that he rotates around to the front, and then he just drops the coat and starts cutting his promo. That's perfect. That's what you do to build a star.
Indeed, I agree.
Fellas, I will gracefully leave and enjoy the rest of the show, everybody. I'll talk to you later, guys. Take it easy.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
Well, then, with that being said, NXT Vengeance Day predictions. Look, peeps, 5-match card tonight. A lot of things going on. Look, we're going to go ahead and start with Tony D'Angelo versus Dion Lennox. Of course, Tony D'Angelo finally going ahead and getting this match here. I feel that Tony D'Angelo is going to go ahead and win this match.
Oh, yes. I love the fact that they're building Tony as this monster now. He looks almost completely unrecognizable from when he had the family. This guy is now, he turned into a bouncer. That's literally what he looks like now. He looks like an angry bouncer looking for retribution. And that's exactly what they're doing with him.
Exactly. So I really do feel that he goes ahead and takes the win here. But I feel that the real match that I'm thinking is going to go ahead and steal the show tonight is that street fight. And of course, it is Blake Monroe versus the one and only Miss Parker. Okay? So look, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this. Jada Parker returned in January. Art of Beauty with Blake Monroe. The promo battle that they had just last week is just chef's kiss.
Yes.
Jada Parker telling Blake Monroe that you take all of the glamour away and everything, and all you, well, I can't really say because this is a family channel, but she did have a lot of good stuff to say to Blake Monroe.
Yes, she did.
Which ensued in a fight. And of course, Rob Stone going ahead and making sure that this happens at Vengeance Day being a street fight.
Yes.
Give me Jada Parker to win this match, peeps. You know we stand with Jada Parker out here on this show here, peeps. So
yes.
Look, as much as I love Blake Monroe, I'm strutting today.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I would not be shocked if Blake ended up winning this match, because they've done it before when she's been in situations where she's not supposed to win and she ends up pulling it out somehow. So I'm not saying that it's going to happen, because I'm going with Jada Parker on this, but I would not be shocked if Blake Monroe ends up coming out of here with the win.
Okay. Well then, from there we move to the NXT Underground match. We're getting another Underground match, peeps. I know you're excited about that.
Yes.
Lola Vice
versus
Kaylani Jordan. And Kaylani Jordan, who has changed rapidly since losing the TNA Knockouts Championship, I may add.
Yes.
But peeps, I think all is fair in love and war, but when it comes down to the reality of NXT Underground, Lola Vice reigns supreme.
Oh, yes.
And that is exactly what's going to happen tonight.
Yes.
Give me Lola Vice to win.
I've got that one as well. It's just when she just goes ahead and just says, "I'm a Latina," I think everybody loves that whole thing going on right there. So, yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a very violent match. I think when we see how this evens itself out, Jordan's going to try something. It's going to backfire. I think Lola Vice ends up winning this one. So, yeah, without question.
Indeed. Well, look, singles match for the NXT Women's North American title. One Izzy Dame, who is the champion, of course, versus Tatum Paxley.
Yes.
Certainly a resurgence for Tatum Paxley in the last couple of months.
Yes.
What her character work has been, and she's doing some great character work, I may add. Heaps, is this now the shining moment and the crowning moment for Tatum?
I believe so. I think that they've delved into the tearing her down so they can rebuild her again kind of project, where she was the lonely girl looking for a friend, looking for a family, and then we saw her win that championship, losing it, and then being turned on by the culling. And then now we see she's now snapped, rebuilt herself, and now she's coming after Izzy Dame. And I think the best way to do that is to take away from her what she already has. And that's where I think this is going to be, where Tatum ends up winning.
I agree. Put me down for Tatum Paxley as well, peeps. But look, here's where we really go ahead and sit here and talk. The singles match for the NXT Championship.
Yes.
Joe Hendry, the champion, versus Ricky Saints.
Yes.
Peeps, if there is any moment that I can possibly feel absolute, it is right now. Put me down for Ricky Saints to go ahead and win the NXT title.
The way they've been building this up, I think that Ricky Saints is going in on this, but just for argument's sake, I'm going to say that Hendry comes out on top. And the reason why I say that is they're building so many different people there for this, and there's also that dynamic between Saints and, of course, Ethan Page. Does Ethan Page have something to do with getting in there and saying, you know what, you're taking my spotlight away from me at some point? Because they've been giving each other pep talks and the whole nine. Would that be the case? Maybe. But I have a feeling that Hendry is going to win this one. Although, as I said before, I would not be surprised.
Okay. Well, it seems like we disagree on that one. Let's just see what happens. Are we going to go ahead and go for a full 5, or one of us goes ahead and loses out on this? Let's see what happens. But in the end, that marks the end of our Vengeance Day predictions, guys. And unfortunately for today, that marks the end of our show.
Oh, also, another thing that I have to throw out there as well. This is the first time in a very long time we haven't gotten an I Digress on this show. And I want you to think about that. We're not gonna spoon feed a fake one in there. We didn't get an I Digress the entire show.
You know, that's not a bad thing. You know what?
Yeah.
Today was a good episode then.
Yes.
It's always good when we don't have to go ahead and mention out I Digresses, right?
Yes, there you go.
Today was great. But still, let's see what happens next week when it comes down to that.
That'll be a different story.
Funny. We got a comment here from 7-Eleven. He says, what if they have Saints win so Royce Keys can come in on and challenge Saints?
You know something?
Delegating Royce Keys to NXT, though?
At least he'd be getting used for something. I mean, the only thing we've seen him is on 3 dark matches and a podcast with Stephanie McMahon.
You're not wrong about that, which they always keep airing as a commercial on Raw.
Yeah, go figure. They're
doing my boy wrong, man. But you know what? That wouldn't be a bad idea if you just want utility for Royce Keys. But
he would definitely be your Obafemi replacement on NXT if you brought him in like that.
You're not wrong about that. You are not wrong. Well, then we just have to wait to see. Because, I mean, they also do have Jasper Troy and Keanu Carver, who I'm still waiting for them to go ahead and use them in the right way, too, on NXT.
Yeah. But you're just waiting for him to chokeslam Booker T through a table. That's what you're looking for right now.
Shecky Decky. Quack, quack.
Yeah.
But all in all, thank you guys for tuning in to today's show. We will see you next week, since we do have a Stacked Wrestling Week next week as well with AEW Revolution. So you will be getting our predictions then. But we are signing off for today. So this was Same, where I, the phenomenal one.
I, the Peeps Nate. And of course, for our colleague, Mr. 411, where we came,
we saw,
and in the words of the Oracle Paul Heyman,
send us home, peeps!
We conquered!
We conquered. See you next week, guys.
Yes.
Phenomenal one, Peeps Nate. This is the Same. Peace, love, farewell.